Hey everyone, welcome back to Linux Weekly, daily Wednesdays where we sit back, relax, take that midweek break, talk about some of the fun things going on in the world of Linux and open source. I'm Vince Stone, joined every week by Joe Bryant. Everybody watching us live on Twitch. How's it going? Been playing around with a bunch of stuff. I was just talking about the weather. It's kind of in a weird flux. It's getting warm, it's getting cold, then it's getting warm again, then it's raining when it's warm, and I was trying to adult. I was going to go outside and be very adult yesterday, and I couldn't do it. So I decided I'm going to come back in here and tango with this thing because on Monday I built a router. You built a router?
Yay!
Yeah, I got this. This is the BPI R4. It's got dual 10 gig fiber. It's got not one but 3 slots for data sims on the back that you can tie in. It's got Wi-Fi 6, Wi-Fi 7, and it's got 4 gigabyte ports in the front, along with USB 3 and a metal case. It's horrifying. I'm scared of this thing. I finally stuck it together. If you want to see my thoughts on it, I put it up for patrons over on Interfacing Linux. I got about a 13-minute video of me going through the story of how I ended up with this and all of the parts. Because if you don't know, I'm not like really into networking type stuff. And, which is weird because I got a bunch of Microtech stuff back here in the rack. But that's why I got it, because I'm not really into networking stuff and I wanted to learn some things. This is a whole other can of chainsaws. So it's going to be a long project. You can follow along in the notes, and that post is over there if you want to go check it out. But I had another surprise yesterday when I woke up, Joe.
Oh, tell us all about it, Vin.
Why would I do that?
Yeah, because we want to hear.
Nah,
it's going to be cool.
That's just people being nosy. I want to keep my surprises secret. Now, I got up, I go, I do my jog, I come back, and I'm like, all right, let me put on some background noise. I listen to Twitch streams, just live stream, put them on the background, pipe it throughout the house. I hit my Twitch app, it comes up and it says, you can no longer use this version of the Twitch app. Some of you know what I'm talking about because they updated the Twitch app a little while ago, probably about 3 or 4 months ago, and they turned it into a TikTok app for the TikTok kids to swipe through. It's atrocious. It's miserable. And one thing you might not know is you can always go to, there's a couple of like legitimate sites that host older versions of APKs. And I just downloaded the older one and I made sure it wasn't updated. And I've just been riding that, man. I'm like, it wasn't great, but I upgraded it. I tried it. I'm like, maybe I can get into it. I spent like half a day playing around with it. And I'm like, this is just abysmal. I can't deal with this. So I went over to F-Droid and I'm like, because there's a ton of like, front ends for YouTube. And I'm like, there's got to be something for Twitch. And I saw this. Yay. This is called Extra. It's got a GitHub page. You can play around with it, download it, the APKs. This is great. It's got support for better TTV and the Franker's Face Z plugins, whatever that is. But it lets you watch VODs, download VODs. You can sign in with your Twitch account, which I did. Didn't have any problems with that. And it works great on a tablet. And it was jarring to see what a Twitch app could look like if it was designed by users from the ground up to be a good app, as opposed to designed by a soulless corporation to extract money out of you.
Yeah, that's
it is
awesome.
Lovely. And I don't know if it blocks out or not. I got Twitch Turbo, so I don't see ads. It might not. So don't hate me, don't go downloading it expecting like ad blocking or anything. But highly recommend if you want to go check it out. Just type in Twitch XTRA, go to their GitHub, or you can download it right on F-Droid and play around with it. What's new with you, Jill Bryant?
Oh boy, I've been having a lot of fun playing Genshin Impact between a lot of working on podcasting and getting ready for the holidays and getting gifts together for all my friends and family. And it's just a crazy time of year, but I love it.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
December, it doesn't matter if you do the Christmas thing or like the holiday thing, just
or Hanukkah or whatever.
Lose their minds in December. And I was talking about that before we went live. My goal is just to navigate through it. Just try to sneak through it. And get out the other end, and everybody calms back down, and we head into 2025, right?
Yeah. I do enjoy going to the mall and seeing all the festive decor and and lots of people shopping. It's kind of fun.
Let's hop right into it this week with a blast from the past, Jill. I think you said it was 2022, the last we spoke of this. Or 2020?
2021.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
If you would have given me about 2 more minutes, I would have just rattled off numbers and eventually got that.
You eventually got it. Yeah, Ben. So back in September of 2021, we talked about the marvelous AppMan application here on LWW, and I've actually been using it ever since. But I hadn't run an update in a while. So this is really cool. AppMan, for those of you that don't know, is a universal app image installer on Linux, and it works like apt, Pacman, or DNF, and can be installed by downloading a set of small scripts. Well, the developer and creator, Ivan-HC, contacted me on X to let me know about AppMan's latest updates. Ivan let me know about the big new feature of the latest AppMan, or AM, 9.3 release, and states, install and hashtag sandbox, hashtag app image packages in one go. And Ven is showing the video on screen that he sent me as well. And so it's really cool. Now you can sandbox and specify what folders on your Linux system each app image can access via the AppMan AM install script. And installing and sandboxing them is actually really easy to do using AM tac IA tac sandbox and the name of the program in the terminal. This command installs and sandboxes the app images from the AM database, and AM tac sandbox name a program for locally installed scripts and ones you have made or from a third-party repo. So I think that's really cool. It doesn't just work with the database that he created, but with ones that you make as well, and scripts you make as well. So that's really cool. And he's added a new command called AIS that Ivan says, to simplify things, you can replace tac IA tac sandbox with the new option tac IAS, otherwise known as install app image in sandbox. So not only did he make separate commands for these functions, but one that's unified as well with tac IAS. It's really awesome. And all you have to do is type AM tac IAS and the name of the program in the terminal, and you're done. And it'll install the applications. And when it goes through each application, it asks you what directories you would like it to access. Or you can set up a custom directory for a place you'd like to access elsewhere on your system. And I was really impressed by that. And what's awesome is AppMan now includes more than 2,500 portable apps and programs for Linux in its database. And yeah, I think when I first reviewed it way back then, there was maybe like 100 or two in the database, and now there's 2,500. So that's pretty cool. And I've been noticing that as I've been using it, there's been a lot more programs available. And so check out our show notes for all the links to install and use the latest version of AppMan. It's so worth it. It's this is the first terminal repository manager for app images. And it's awesome because app images are my favorite of all the containerized software. What do you think, Ven?
App images are good. I look at this, like if I don't need a program to, if I just need something like occasionally, here's where I use the app image I use the most is R2 Modman, which we use when myself, Jordan, and Pedro were playing Lethal Company because we want to add all the mods to it. And I don't need the system installed for that. I got the app image, I put it on, and I'm good with it. So having something like this to keep everything up to date, it's brilliant. Love to see it. So good job, everybody. And like Jill said, go check out our show notes, link in the description, put it in your face and see if it's right for you. Now, something I want to talk about. I'm very excited about so much that I was talking about in the pre-show, and I've been talking about it for weeks. is the Intel Arc B580 Battlemage. Part of me is just excited that we're really going to get it. It's a thing. It's in people's hands right now. You know about it? Never heard of it? Intel's got GPUs. Intel's really going to shake things up with this. This is a little report from WCCF Tech, and we're talking 20 Z cores, 12 gigajoules of memory RAM, 2.85 gigahertz boost clock. This thing apparently, according to some very recent leaked benchmarks a couple of days ago, is trading blows with Vulkan and OpenCL performance. This is what I'm interested in. With the RTX 4060 and 7600 XT. And by trade, I mean beating them by 19 and 7% respectively. All right, whatever. Okay, that's neat then. Don't care. 4060, RX 7600. Are you interested in this? Well, this is very simple. Shake things up. This is a 250, maybe 280, depending on like how things get shaken out at the end of the day. GPU. Probably going to be closer to 250, even with AIB partners, depending on how much YOLO they attach to it. $250. You take a look, how much is a 4060? Like $399? It's crazy. This is just going to shake things up. I'm very interested in it. It's going to have driver support right out of the box in kernel 6.12. I'm getting one. There's no way I'm not getting one. I'm going to test it out over on Interfacing Linux. Give you a full write-up. We're going to find out, can it play with Blender? Can it play with DaVinci Resolve? We're going to run it through some games. And I'm going to run it on a realistic system. Why? Because I got a pretty realistic system that you might consider putting a $250 video card in, like a 5600G. We'll give it like 16, maybe 32 gigs of RAM, send it down the road, and we'll see what happens. So yeah, very excited about this. But Jill, it seems you're maybe a little more excited about the B570.
Oh, well, I was just happy that the Intel Arc B570, you know, it's $30 cheaper than the B550 at $220. And I actually like that they didn't skimp out on RAM on the B570, which has a respectable 10 gigabytes of GDR6 VRAM. They could have made it 8 gigabyte, but no, they made it 10, which is really great. And I'm actually really definitely looking forward to our benchmarks on Linux with the B570 and the comparisons with my Intel Arc A770 16 gigabyte that increases its performance with every Linux kernel and Mesa update. Oh, I meant the B580. Yeah, the comparisons with the B580. And then this morning, N Maver in chat posted an article where the 3D Mark says that it outperforms my Arc A770 16 gigabyte. So the B580 is kind of where it's at. I'm really happy about that.
It's going to be interesting. Yeah, and thanks for posting that in our Discord. I see you in chat right now.
Yeah, he's in our chat.
But you know, they got the bugs worked out. You know, Arc was a very rocky launch. It was about a year late. And it looks like they're going to deliver like what I was hoping Arc would, you know, like right at the holidays. And this doesn't matter whose team you're on. If you're on Team Intel, if you're on Team NVIDIA, Team AMD, and yeah, you right over there, still on Team Matrox. I respect that. All right.
Yeah.
That's cool. Me and you can still hang out because this is going to have a very good effect. We're about to see who understands how basic economics work.
Yeah.
You get a $250 card on here. In 2 months, you're just going to magically see prices for the 4060 and the like 7600 XT just drop for some reason. They're going to go down.
Yeah.
It's going to be magic, fairy dust, and all the other stuff. But yeah, that's how that's going to work out. And like Jill says, these are the budget cards. You know, $250 used to be something that you could get a decent GPU for.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. And like if you doubled that, you had the top of the line GPU. And we've just been living in this weird alternate universe where AMD and NVIDIA, nobody's the good one here, both realized what people were willing to suffer and pay. So getting back to something where anybody can just, spend 250, get a decent 1080p, 1440p gaming experience. And I want to play around with the encoding stuff on 12 gigs. It might be good for AI. Absolutely. I want the AV1. It's got AV1 encoder in it. Looking forward to it. It's great to have hardware to get excited about after like 4 years, man.
It is. And I'm excited that it has the sweet ray tracing support at that price point.
It's got ray tracing. Yeah.
It's really
frame,
cool.
ZSS, all the crazy stuff, man. And being able to get excited about hardware again after so long is, never lose that joy, kids. Never lose that joy.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I want to mention Strider in chat. He actually was, it says it competes with the GTX 1660. So impressed. And it's actually the GTX 1660 Super. I have 2 of those cards, and I was happy to see that this card outperforms it, the B580. And
why
it
are
looks
we talking about a 1660? Who brought that up?
On Twitch. Strikor.
I'm just going to cut that segment out. We're just talking for no reason. Like the 1660, this thing competes with a 4060. Pay attention to the show or go somewhere else, dude.
The reason he was saying that because in the article, that's what Intel used to compare the B580 with. They used that's why that came up. But it has better numbers than the
like 16. I said, don't ever lose your joy. Don't turn into a hateful little person on the internet. All right. Always with just negative, poisonous, toxic, hot takes. You don't ever want to be that person. Let's talk about Raspberry Pi 500s.
Yeah, Vin. So Raspberry Pi has been so good about putting out new hardware the last few months, as we've been reporting here on LWW. And this week is no exception. They just released the Raspberry Pi 500, an all-in-one Raspberry Pi 5 computer built in a keyboard. This is the successor to the Raspberry Pi 400, an all-in-one Raspberry Pi 4 computer built in a keyboard released in November of 2020 that I still use and love. Like Vin, I've always loved the PC and a keyboard concept ever since the vintage days of the C64, the Amiga, and the Apple II, which I still have in my vintage computer collection. But what's cool is the Raspberry Pi 500 features a 2.4 gigahertz quad-core 64-bit ARM Cortex A76 processor, 8 gigabytes of SD RAM, and a Video Core 7 GPU, which supports OpenGL ES 3.1 and Vulkan 1.3. And the Raspberry Pi 500 has connectors for the GPIO, 2 USB 3 ports, 1 USB 2 port, an SD slot, gigabit and Ethernet this time. They up the internet speed, dual band 802.11 AC Wi-Fi, Bluetooth 5.0, and 2 4K 60 HDMI display outputs. And the Raspberry Pi 500 is only $90 and includes a 32 gigabyte Raspberry Pi branded SD card. And yes, those came out in the last few months. Those are awesome. And you can also buy a Raspberry Pi 500 kit for $120, which includes a Raspberry Pi mouse, USB-C power supply, a micro HDMI to HDMI cable, and the 5th edition of the Raspberry Pi Beginner's Guide. Also, the original Raspberry Pi 400 and a keyboard can be purchased at a discount for $60 and the kit for $80. So pretty sweet. I was really impressed that not only I've been waiting for a Raspberry Pi 500, not only did it come out, but it's inexpensive. It came out at the same price as the original one, which I wasn't expecting in today's world. So that was really cool. And also, Vin, they are rocking something else new along with the Raspberry Pi 500 and the new official Pi SD cards and the official Pi USB hub. Now there is an official Raspberry Pi monitor available for $100, which pairs perfectly with the Raspberry Pi 500 and 400 keyboard computers and the Raspberry Pi single board computers, of course. It can be powered by the Raspberry Pis via the included USB-A to USB-C cable or using a dedicated USB-C power supply. And it features a 15.6-inch full HD 1080p IPS display, an integrated angle adjustable stand, built-in audio via 2 front-facing speakers, a 3.5 millimeter jack audio out, and a full-sized HDMI input. And the monitor is very pretty snow white with a raspberry colored edge to match the Raspberry Pi 500 keyboard and other Pis and cases. So check the links in our show notes for the official Raspberry Pi distributors where you can buy the Raspberry Pi 500 keyboard or 400 keyboard, computer, or monitor. So, and tons of other accessories.
I'm going to wait.
This is just really cool.
I'm going to wait. I'm just going to sit back. I'm going to get one in 2034.
So it'll be Raspberry Pi probably, let me see, 1,000 or the 2,000?
The reason I bring up 2034 is that's how long they plan to keep these in production. Yeah.
Isn't that sweet?
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. And you know what? When they released the original Raspberry Pi, what did they call the first one? Just the one you have in your hand?
Yeah, the 400.
Raspberry Pi 400. There's only 400 on that one.
Yeah.
I was shocked that it took, innovators that long to put a computer inside of a keyboard. It was great to see that.
It's about time, huh?
Never done that. Never happened before in history. So that was a good job on the Raspberry Pi team. Yeah. We're going to see who's not paying attention. We'll get some comments on that one. Just give it a minute. There we go. $90. That's not bad for a Pi 500.
Yeah. Sweet.
I'm down with it. All right. One last bit of Pi. This is something I touched on Linux Gamecast. If you're curious about the latest Linux gaming news, reviews, how-tos, and elks, come check it out on Saturday night. We recorded right here on Twitch, same channel, but Valve Steam Link on a Pi 5. I thought this was topical to go ahead and bring this up since we got a brand new, Raspberry Pi 5 type device laying around because the Steam Link lives on. Turns out it didn't know how to Raspberry Pi 5. So a guy over at Valve named Sam, he's like, you know what? We need to fix that. And he did. It turns out it just wasn't playing nice with the Broadcom multimedia libraries. And you guessed it, Wayland. We're still working on Wayland, everybody. Jeff even did a nice little video about the Steam Link running on his Pi 5. So now you can stream your games from your gaming PC using the Steam Link to your TV or other display device at 4K 60 or 1080 240. You can do a bunch of different other resolutions too, but that's just kind of showing you like you can do all the way up to the 4K 60, or you could just go crazy if you got displays that support it. It can go that fast. Yeah, it's good to see the Steam Link living on as an application because it used to be a hardware device back in the day. It did. Steam released it. It was a ARM powered thingamabob, and it was cheap too. It was like $60 or something like that you could plug in, and you could hook it up to the network, and you could stream from your gaming PC. You could just have Steam running, and it would have a little menu on it, and you'd light it up. And, it was like Google Stadia. Remember Google Stadia or GeForce Now? Yeah. But it was like the local version. It was super easy to do. So now it's an app. Put it on your Pi 5. Boom. Have some fun with it. Never used it. I talked Saturday. I saw a Steam Link in the consignment shop, a thrift store here in the States.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like brand new in box. I opened it up, looked at it, and they didn't even want $1 for it. I think it was like 80 cents or something like that.
Oh, great. Yeah.
I left it.
Now, I still have one. I actually used it quite regularly because especially, when it came out, I didn't have as many high-powered computers around the house. So that was nice. I remember streaming it to my Chromebook.
Chromebook? Yeah. I mean, it was kind of ahead of its time, really.
It was.
But it still boils down to, if it's good enough. I would like to visually test it and see what the latency is, because it would be nice to, have a rack, have a gaming PC in a rack in the basement and not worry about it. Just have that around the house or in a Chromebook or something like that. I'd have to see how it works on Wi-Fi. Works on a Pi, that's great. And yeah, just good to see. I thought I'd give everybody a mention if you haven't played around with the Steam Link. There's a great weekend project. And it's going to work. If you get a Pi 4, just go ahead and whatever. Plop it on, play around, hook it up, see if you like it.
Sweet.
I think that's it, Joe.
Okay.
We just need to go pre-order our
Raspberry Pi 500s.
You do that. I'm going to go pre-order my B580.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's that too. Yeah. I got lots of good hardware this week.
After I finish with my router.
Oh, yeah. That's so cool, Vin. The last router I built was a 486 router years ago.
I won't throw this thing out a window already. That's where I'm at. Stay tuned. You can keep track of that over on Interfacing Linux on YouTube and all the places that you can find that. But this show lives over at linuxgamecast.com. We do after shows and stuff. We had Sandy, Rohit, and everybody joined in. A little bit of shell shock in the after shows. And on Saturday for Linux Gamecast, where we do a bunch of different little things, you know, we still do Jackbox, among others. And if you want to get on that, hop in our Discord. You can do that by becoming a patron over at patreon.com/Linux Gamecast. Get a gang of stuff. You get the live and uncut versions of this show, commercial-free video version that you can just download, play anywhere, and just a gang of other things as a thank you for your support, up to and including your name in the credits. And when I say that, that means we got to play the bouncy music and roll them, Jill.
Yeah,
Quick.
we sure do. We got to thank all our beautiful patrons, like our advisor in chat, Artherin, who's in chat live right now, as always. Our executive producers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Ian, Eshep, our Chicago Kicks people, Glory Sagral, Basil, Empty, Casyclism, our Sea Monsters, Veritanuda, Truggy, our Death Notes, Martin, Turnover, Chad, Zeno, and they're just flying by. I can't read them all. All our wonderful patrons.
No, there you go. I paused it. There you go.
Thank you, Vin. So Beckett, Tim, Euthanasia, Pedal Happy, Blasphemia, Johnny.
Look at that. All the people.
Despec 12, Biaco,
Too late.
Ethan.
All right. Hey, everybody. Have a great rest of your week. Get out there, go have some fun, go play around, come hang out with us. I'll be back. Jordan will be back probably tomorrow doing something. I'll be back Friday with the TM2 crew. And just keep rocking on, man. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Yay, Vin.